I know what you're thinking. How'd this guy with that haircut and that wild beard end up with a car like this behind him? Well, I'll tell you in a minute.
Today on Atlantic Built, we've got a bunch to cover on this 2020 Lamborghini Huracan EVO. I'm gonna pull the bumper, I'm gonna show you how the factory exhaust works, and then I'm gonna give you guys a sneak peek here at some of the exhaust products that I now offer for these cars on Atlanticbuilt.ca. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you find some value in it, consider subscribing. Boom, now she's breathing, okay?
Next on the chopping block is a is me. I'm dying. Next on the chopping block is a Lamborghini. This is a 2020 Huracan EVO. We're gonna be doing a full exhaust system or a catback system on this car. This will be available with valves, without valves. I'm also gonna try and design a bolt-on solution for a tip for this car, as these are like a baffled tip, so just changing the tip would change the sound of the car. I'm gonna pull this thing out, get it in over on the lift, and start having at her. Check this out. The Huracan. Whoop. Look at that. What a thing, eh? You got the bull on the floor there, or the cow, the raging cow. All right, we're gonna hop in this thing. As you change the modes on the car, it changes the sound with the valves in the exhaust. Here we go, check this out. Now they're closed. I gotta go into Sport or Corsa. Little squeak, like the valves move even when it is in strata, but it's only when you're wide open that the valves will open or do whatever they're gonna do. They'll move when it's wide open throttle and no more vacuum is applied to them. So you can see here, just listen carefully. This is strata. So you can hear that little at the end where it shuts it up a bit. That's when the valves are closing back up. So they do open and close throughout your drive, no matter which mode you're in. Let's get this thing outside. It was just too cold out for a convertible today. It's supposed to snow later, so I can put my snowmobile gear on, do some top-down cruising. I think that would be a great day. Top-down, snowstorm, Lamborghini with summer tires. What more could a man ask for? Or a woman? Or any other of the days?
So I guess first things first, and that would be pulling the bumper. This thing being a convertible or a Spider might be a little bit harder or, you know, different to do than a coupe. I'm not too sure, but we're gonna find out when we get into it. So right now, we're gonna go ahead, start loosening off the bumper because we need this rear section apart in order to slip the exhaust out. This thing is just so cool to look at. And if you wanna look in here, you can see that little valve in there? It's like a butterfly. So that goes open and closed based on the driving mode that you're in. The new exhaust will have this same feature. It's gonna work with all the factory controls. You kind of see the stock muffler there, kind of comes all the way out here, this and that. We're gonna centralize all of that right into the middle of the back of the car. We're also going to come up with our own set of tips. These tips are fastened to this grill or this rear bumper plate kind of thing, and they're like a floating tip. So they actually, you know, they're just on little tabs. So I'm going to make something that's not a baffled tip, because this does muffle the sound as well. If you notice, Lamborghinis, sometimes when you hear them, they sound great wide open, and then when they do the shift, you can kind of hear like a little flutter kind of noise. I believe that's from the tips. Could be from the muffler too, but the tips will have a big impact on how sharp the sound comes out of the car. And just by doing the tips, I think that would change the sound quite a bit. A lot of guys with the C8 Corvettes have done that. They just swap the tips out because they come with, same thing, baffled tip from the factory. And once that sound wave comes out of the pipe and into that baffled tip, it kills the sound and muffles the sound to a degree. Not anything crazy, but you will get a much sharper sound out of the end of the tailpipe if it's a solid piece that the sound wave can continue all the way out of the end of the pipe. We're gonna try that. It's just gonna be a bit of trial and error, but I'm really excited to dig into this thing, and let's get to it.
Something very important to have when you're working on something like this, Ziploc bags. So I like to use these so that I can take my marker and I can label Lamborghini rear grille bolts, license plate frame bolts, whatever it is, and separate everything into exactly where it came from so it can go back in the exact same spot. Lugs, a hollow center on them. They're titanium. They're so light, it is insane. Yeah, when you're doing this, don't do this. I was taking this out here, and guess what I did? I dropped my bit right down that tube. Can't even see it. Gone into the abyss. Don't drop this piece down that hole, because, well, then you're gonna need it to get the bolts out, so you don't want to do that.
All right, so you can see we got the bumper off. Now I'm just kind of playing around with my strategy, or what I want to do with this exhaust system. Now I want to offer a few different systems for this. I'm going to have one that's like a race pipe setup, where it's going to be tubes that basically just come out. This will be available in stainless steel or titanium. I will also offer a X pipe, which I believe is the key to these cars. I mean, if you want to look at the stock exhaust on it, when the flap or valve opens, it's basically a straight shot out here, which the car sounds crazy loud. It's super, super loud. So what I'm thinking is if we can tie these two banks together, it's gonna increase that pitch, and it's gonna give us that high pitch tone that we really want with a supercar. I think everybody kind of strives for that, and there's good reason for it, because these things sound really good through an X pipe. That's my plan. I'm just gonna kind of tinker around here a little bit. I'm gonna tack some tubes together, get on the bandsaw, cut some pieces, and see where we end up.